Monsieur le chancelier, Madame la vice-chancelière, Monsieur le président du Conseil des gouverneurs, j'ai le grand plaisir de vous présenter aujourd'hui un philanthropiste extraordinaire, un bénévole dédié et un grand ami de McGill depuis presque un demi-siècle. It is my pleasure to present to you Marvin Corber, a dedicated Montreal community volunteer, philanthropist, and steadfast supporter of McGill University for half a century. Mr. Koerber's lifetime of engagement spans sectors ranging from education to healthcare to community service. He has been a champion for fundraising efforts of many organizations, including the Canadian Jewish Congress, Mount Sinai Hospital, Sun Youth, and Centraide. He has given generously of his time to organizations such as the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, the McCord Museum, and the Jewish General Hospital. McGill has benefited even more from his volunteer work and his tireless efforts to improve the education provided for students and support to researchers. His relationship with McGill began in the 1950s when taking accounting courses in the evening. In the 70s, he joined the McGill Fund Council, starting what has become a remarkable track record of fundraising and volunteering on behalf of this university. Marvin Corber has been a valued member of McGill's Board of Governors from 1992 to 2002, and he is now an emeritus governor. He has served on the Montreal Neurological Institute Advisory Board and has played an integral role in building relationships with donors and new supporters of the university as a member of the McGill 21st Century Fund. More recently, during the university's historic campaign McGill, Mr. Koerber served as a key member of the executive cabinet and chaired the Bequests and Planned Gifts Committee that secured an unprecedented level of support. In 2008, Mr. Koerber and his wife established the Harriet and Marvin Corber Family Fund for Student Support, which provides professional development opportunities for students in the Desautels Faculty of Management. Marvin Corber is a highly respected consultant at the Montreal firm of RSM Richter and has found yet another outlet for his boundless philanthropic talents by serving as chair of the Richter Charitable Foundation. As he has been known to say, fundraising is my second career, but most people would say it is my first. He has been recognized with numerous honors and awards for his extraordinary level of engagement, including the President of Israel Award, the Bernard M. Bloomfield Award, and the Samuel Bronfman Medal, as well as our very own McGill Alumni Association's highest honor, the Award of Merit. In 2002, in recognition of more than 40 years of dedicated community service, Mr. Koerber was made a member of the Order of Canada. Sir Winston Churchill once said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." Marvin Corber is truly the embodiment of these words. Mr. Chancellor, I present to you Marvin Corber, that you may confer upon him the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
I'm going to call on you. Okay. He's very anxious. He's got a great message. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Dr. Marvin Corber to deliver his convocation address. Dr. Koerber.
Mr. Chancellor, Madam Principal, Mr. Chairman of the Board, and fellow graduates, I begin by saying how very proud I am to receive this singular honor from McGill, one of our country's finest universities, and how delighted I am to be sharing this day with all of you who are about to graduate from our great institution. In April of this year, I received a phone call from Dr. Fortier. We had spoken several times in the past, and I assumed it would be another pleasant business-as-usual conversation. After a brief chat, Dr. Fortier told me that she had a particular reason for calling. It was to advise me that McGill wanted to grant me an honorary doctorate and to ask me whether I would accept. There were a few seconds of silence at my end, which is fairly unusual for me. Anyone who knows me will tell you that I'm generally not at a loss for words, but that day I was. A moment later, I found my voice, accepting the honor and expressing my gratitude to be so recognized. Then came the challenge, especially for someone like me who loves nothing better than telling a good story. I could share the news with only my immediate family, no one else, until the honor was officially announced. And how long will I have to keep this news under wraps, I asked. Not long, Dr. Fortier assured me, only 5 or 6 months, not weeks, months. I promised her that my lips would be sealed, little realizing what a monumental task it would be for a storyteller like me not to tell the biggest, most gratifying story of his life. 2 months later, the university eased up a little and let me know that I could share my news with very close friends. That was some consolation, but I continued to keep the secret from most people that I know. And talking about secrets, there is one other secret, an old one, that I feel compelled to share. Truth be told, I do not have an undergraduate degree from McGill. Let me tell you about it. The year was 1949. I had just completed first year at McGill in the Faculty of Commerce and was accepted as a summer intern at a Montreal accounting firm. Near the end of August, before the start of the school term, I knocked on the door of the managing partner to let him know that I would soon be returning to McGill. I wanted to thank him for the opportunity given to me by the firm. The man was formidable, legendary for his uncompromising standards. After I finished my speech, he looked up from his desk and said, "Where did you ever get the idea? We hired you as a summer student. We hired you to work here permanently." He proceeded to convince me to do exactly what he had done, to finish my studies in McGill's evening program while continuing to work at the firm. I took his advice reluctantly. I studied at night and became a chartered accountant, but did not receive my undergraduate degree. So I stand before all of you today to let you know that after some 60-odd years, I still remain a McGill undergrad. And that might just be a record breaker. That decision, however, brought good luck, for I became, at age 26, the youngest person in the history of the firm, then known as Richter, Usher, and Weinberg, to be admitted to partnership. I then went on to become managing partner of that same firm, now known simply as Richter, a firm that today ranks among the top 10 in Canada. With that said, you can perhaps better understand what it means to me to receive my parchment from McGill today. It's customary on such occasions to offer some advice to one's fellow graduates. I have thought long and hard about what I might share with you that hasn't already been offered so well and so often. Previous recipients have very eloquently covered the bases, talking of the future, the opportunities that our lives promise, to be bold, to hold to your vision, to find strength in failure, to strike new paths, and always, always to give back to the community that has supported you. These themes can never be repeated too often, and the exploration of each one could fill an entire afternoon. I don't want to take that much of your time. I know that there will be a lot of celebrating waiting beyond these doors, so I'll try to keep it short. Let me tell you one more story. It was 1986. I was chairing a fundraising campaign for a nonprofit organization and canvassing our campaign's regular donors to secure their ongoing commitment. Most people who do this kind of volunteer work are busy with many other responsibilities and often have to build their relationships with donors from only one or two brief telephone conversations. My work days were packed solid, but I decided that a phone call just wouldn't cut it. It's not that I had to meet personally with the donors to explain some brilliant new strategy. It was simply that I was more comfortable sitting in the same room with the people I was canvassing, getting to know them a little better. One donor stood out from all the others. He welcomed me into his office, but before I could sit down and make my pitch for the cause, he held up his hand. "Mr. Koerber, I want you to know right away that I am forced to cut the amount of my gift for this year." He sat down, he leaned back in his chair, looking uncomfortable, as he explained how his business in the past year had faced a number of challenges. When he had finished speaking, I said, "First of all, if you're cutting your gift, I fully understand. People do have setbacks. It's part of life, and I accept your decision. But that's not the only reason I'm here. What I really want to do is to say thank you for all the support you've provided over so many years. It's made a big difference in the lives of so many people." The gentleman looked a little surprised and a little curious and leaned forward in his chair. I went on, "Since I'm here, may I explain to you some of the differences in this year's campaign and how they will strengthen our ability to deliver necessary services." He smiled and motioned for me to continue. A few moments later, he interrupted me. "You know, you're the first chairman who ever came to see me. I've always been canvassed over the phone." I said, "That's not my style, and at your level of giving, you're entitled to know where your money is going." I offered a few examples of new initiatives that I thought would resonate with him and explained the impact they would have. When I left, he thanked me for coming and repeated how badly he felt having to reduce his gift. "I hope you'll understand." And I said, I more than understood, and told him I hoped that next year he would be in a position to reinstate his customary gift. Early the next morning, I got a call from that same gentleman. His tone was serious. "Marvin, I appreciated your visit yesterday, but I haven't slept all night." I thought, "Oh no, what have I done?" And he continued, "I was impressed with what you said, and even more impressed that you actually took time away from your business to come here. But I have to say, there was something else that struck me about our conversation." He paused on the phone as though he were searching for the right words. I had a sinking feeling. Okay, here it comes. He continued, "While you were here, something told me that you were just maybe a little disappointed that you and the campaign would be taking a hit." I was totally surprised he had so readily recognized my disappointment. I said, "I have to be honest, you're absolutely right. There was a moment in our conversation when I was feeling somewhat disappointed, but I thought I had kept that reaction well hidden." He chuckled and said, "It wasn't all that obvious, but it was there in your body language." I'm pretty good at reading people, and I saw it right away. That disappointment stuck with me all night. So this morning, I decided that not only am I going to maintain my gift, but because you took the time to visit me, I'm going to increase it by 10%. That one meeting taught me a lesson that I've carried with me to this day. Spending time with people in the same room, face to face, can make a greater difference to how things turn out than just about anything else you can do. I'm sharing this story with you because I think it's important for anyone who is hoping to build relationship in this digital world of ours. We live and work in circumstances that are in many ways vastly different from 1986 when I sat in that donor's office. Finding the time to share an in-person moment can begin to feel like a luxury, or even worse, a waste of time. But it isn't. In fact, spending time with people, connecting with them in a personal way, will often be one of the most important things you can do to achieve your goals. Real face time is not some tool you can buy online or some strategy you can master that will speed communication. Quite the opposite. Spending time with people is low-tech, and outcomes are unpredictable. But these encounters, like the one I just told you about, brim with opportunity. When they go well, they are the stuff that opens up unimagined possibilities. It's often in those intimate moments that you may do your very best work and have the greatest impact. That donor of years ago had read my body language like a book. He picked up information that would never have been available to him had I canvassed him by phone, or to borrow from today's vernacular, had I emailed, tweeted, or texted him. It may seem strange that in our increasingly complex and busy world, important decisions can still hinge on a shrug, on eye contact, or some unconscious gesture. But those subtle messages actually raise the stakes and challenge everyone who is present. If we don't nurture those personal communication skills, if we don't invest in human interaction, we may find ourselves in a world that is a little less clear, a little less compelling, and a little less cohesive. In 1986, I decided not to rely on my phone or on a typed message from my secretary, excuse me, and I'm glad about that. At the time, the decision didn't seem terribly momentous, but in the end, it made all the difference. So here's my advice to all of you. Get out from behind your desk, put down the social media paraphernalia for a while, and find the time to sit in the same room as the people with whom you want to work. It might take an hour more than you had planned, but it will offer you untold rewards. That extra hour will allow you to understand people, to learn from them, and to touch their hearts. In closing, I encourage you to pursue your dreams with vigor. Don't be afraid to take risks, which can result in unexpected opportunities. You may not always succeed, but you will grow from the experience. And success, when it finally arrives, will be all the more sweet. It will fill you, as it has filled me here today, with enormous satisfaction and profound gratitude. Good luck, bonne chance, and thank you.